obviously not the way you wanted it to end, but I mean, where did the season sort of go for you, and where did it sort of fall short?
I feel like reflecting on the year, all season it seemed like we were trying to be the best team we could be, and then it felt like things started clicking in playoffs for us. I think our playoff games were the best games we played all season. So it's a disappointing feeling when you can say that and still not get the results that you want, but it's also a good feeling knowing that we were happy with our playoff performance. We just came up short.
And Allie, thanks for recognizing that it's summer and you're wearing shorts. That's good. I guess for you, defensively, you guys played strong all year. Goaltending was an issue, obviously, in the end, but nobody's pointing fingers, right? I mean, this is a team thing. Where do you see how things turned out? How things turned out for you?
Yeah, I think, I mean, hockey's a team game, right?
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, we didn't play well enough defensively, but we were scoring a lot of goals. There's a lot of positives. It's just kind of how the games turned out against Minnesota. It was just high-scoring games, and I don't think either team could say they were playing the best of defense, but I think that we can be proud as a team in the way that we competed in our defensive game as the year went on, but just unfortunately it wasn't good enough come playoff time.
Renata, I mean, Troy hates looking at last year, but it's a completely different field. The end of this year, to the end of this season, to the end of from the end of last year. Is that right?
Yeah, I think like disappointing. Obviously,
yeah.
Both. I think both years we had an expectation within our group that we were going to fight for a Walter Cup, and to come up short is obviously disappointing. But I do think Blayre kind of said it the best. Like we were working all season to find our game at its highest peak, and I think we were trending that way in that series. And there was a lot of good parts in that series. It just, it hurts when you just can't find a way to get it done when you know that you're playing the right way.
Renata, obviously, there's going to be a lot of conversation about the fact that you lose to the same team 2 times in a row, and that you obviously didn't get the result that you wanted. What are you going to take away from this series moving forward? And I apologize if someone already asked that.
No worries. I think coming off of last year, we learned a lot just about the momentum shifts in a playoff series, and I thought our group did a good job managing it a little bit better this series, despite still not getting the results that we wanted. But I think there's still tons to learn, just about how tight the games are. They're tight all season, but when it comes to playoffs, it's even tighter, and every single detail matters. Every small play can end up what costs you. So I think for me, just learning that, when it comes to games like this, you have to make sure that your details are super sharp.
And this could be answered for you, Renata, or Blayre as well. Obviously, you guys had the quick turnaround from Worlds to then 3 games and then right into playoffs. Do you think that timing has any effect on your ability to perform? Obviously, I know it was in Europe this year, and that will always be the case. But do you think there was anything to do with that in terms of, just that scheduling, or would you like to see any changes with how, obviously if it's possible, how the international competitions fit into your schedule with the PWHL?
I mean, in an ideal world, there's not that long break. I found this year in particular, that Worlds break and then coming back in and only having 3 games, it's quite choppy, and it's hard for the girls who are in market and don't get game reps, and then to come and supposed to be playing at your highest as you're entering playoffs. That's really challenging, but hopefully they can find a solution for it. But in the meantime, we just have to manage it the best that we can, and I think our group did, and we found ways to the players that were overseas come back and recover and be ready to go. But yeah, there's no doubt it breaks up the season, and it's hard on everyone.
You spoke about being able to learn lessons from last year, learning ones from this year. what's the biggest lesson you guys feel like you could take away from this season, looking ahead to next year? For any of you.
I think the biggest lesson is that every day of the season is important, and what you do in those days is very important, and it all factors into how you play at the end of the season. I think as the leadership group and as the team, we always tried to have really good details and habits, and there were certain points throughout the year where we felt like, where I felt like sometimes our habits weren't where they needed to be or where they should be, based on what our standards and our expectations are. I think looking ahead into next season, I think we have to make sure that those habits and details are being executed the way we want them to be every day, so that by the end of the season and come playoff time, it's just natural, and we can peak for longer than just a few games in playoffs. It would be great for us to kind of have our on-ice identity completely solidified long before we enter playoffs, so that we just hit the ground running and everything feels very natural.
Blayre, kind of piggybacking off that question, I know Troy said a lot last year that every year he wants you guys at your peak at the end of the season. It doesn't matter if you start there as long as you get there towards the end of the season. Do you guys feel like you got to that point heading into playoffs, that you were at your peak as a team?
I think game one of playoffs was the best game we played all season. I think everybody showed up ready. Every single player and staff member on our team was ready to execute their job, and I think we really did that. So yeah, I think that this year was a lot of building and reflecting on areas that we needed to improve on. It was another hard season with all the teams in the league being so good. Every game was a fight and a challenge, but I think we're really happy with how we showed up in playoffs.
You got a lot coming up with the expansion draft coming and the regular draft, obviously. How do you even get your mind wrapped around looking towards next year when you don't really know?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to think ahead. Obviously,
Yeah.
There's a lot of details that still need to be ironed out with what's going on, and I think a lot of things could change for this group and our team here in Toronto, but for now, I think you just try to reflect on this season and think about changes or anything that you want to change for next season, based on the information we have right now. So it's hard to look ahead without thinking about everything that could happen, but at the same time, you just have to take it with the information that we currently have. So that's how we're approaching it.
Could any of you speak just a little bit about the group this year? It was said, I think Izzy Daniel said going into playoffs, like this might be the only time, this will be the only time this particular group plays together. So what did that mean to you in the playoffs?
Answer?
I loved our group this year, honestly. I think we all competed every day, but like Blayre said, we oftentimes maybe we missed some habits and details, but I will say, like, the girls in the room all got along really well, and I do think we came together come playoff time, and obviously maybe have some regrets that you wish that happened a little earlier, but I will say the group is awesome, and it's tough that I think expansion's happening and that it's going to be very different next year for a lot of people. So I think we're just trying to enjoy each other right now and reflect positively on the season with this group. But overall, I think it was a great season.
And you obviously had a pretty big mid-season trade. Like, I don't know if that was a warm-up to like some of the shock that you might feel when the group is different. Do any of you think that might be similar, or how being a professional, like that harder side of it comes into play? You're all thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, trades like that, but I think that's the reality of the league, and we got to taste of it a little bit last year, but this year there was obviously a bigger one. So I think it is just going to become a little bit normal for us, and expansion's going to be really different this year, but it's just the reality of the way the league's going. And with whoever remains in your market or whatever team you have, you just find ways to kind of build that chemistry again. But yeah, the trades are difficult, but you just try to onboard people as quick as possible.
That trade was a pivotal moment in the year. How long did it take to turn the page and kind of get back to, it's just, let's go play hockey again?
Yeah, well, we didn't have a lot of time. I think we
No,
played.
It was the next day, but I mean.
Yeah,
It
no, it did. I mean, we lost some like big personalities in our locker room, and like Blayre said it best. I think she said, like, you can't replace what someone like Joss brings on the ice and off the ice. But I really do think our group stepped up big. It didn't take us that long. We brought in 2 players that also have big leadership skills, and they came in and just like it was seamless, really. So once we started getting into games, it didn't take long.
Renata, talking about that trade, you've had half a season now playing with Savannah on the back end as a pairing. What do you like about her game now that you've had this time again to play with her? And what obviously, like, how do you feel like the chemistry was as the season was ending between the two of you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had great chemistry. I mean, we have a history. Like, we played together at Clarkson, and we're really good friends. So I thought we had great lines of communication. We talked about plays all the time, and we're really comfortable with that, like, right off the bat. But I really appreciate about her game is she's a really good puck mover. She sees the game really well. So that was really fun to play with her. And know that she was going to make a good play, whether it's getting us out of our end or along the blue line. So I really enjoyed playing with her, and I feel like we picked up really quick together, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
And then a personal note for you, I know the season just ended, but also you were just announced as being one of the finalists for Defender of the Year. What does that mean to be in the running for that award? And yeah, just any thoughts on that at this time?
Yeah, it's obviously a huge honor, and to be a finalist alongside someone like Soph and Claire, both 2 people who had really great seasons, and I enjoy being their teammates more than playing against them. But yeah, I'm obviously proud of the year I've had individually, and felt that I liked a lot of parts of my game and the way that I developed. So yeah, it's obviously just a huge honor.
What about the summer training? This is the first sort of regular season that has started in November, December. So how do you now use those summer months, knowing kind of what's in store as you get into a regular season next year?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is making sure that we all get some rest. So definitely some time away from the gym and lots of time away from the ice, and probably ramp things back up towards the middle of June. But for me, I think I'll stay off the ice until July or August. Just let my body recover and try to get a good base of fitness back in the gym. But we do have a long break. We were talking about it the other day. I think our off season is 6 months long. So that's a lot of time to get better in the gym and on the ice, and to fine tune some areas of each of our games individually. So it's going to be a long off season, but I think it'll be a really productive one for sure.
And it being an Olympic year, how does that factor in? Like, is the schedule through the summer a little more? I heard every 2 weeks you guys are getting together or something at some point. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think anything's finalized, but I think the plan would be to have a few touch points with the national team throughout the end of summer and into fall, I guess. But yeah, I guess you're kind of trying to balance like what you need to do to prepare for a PWHL season, but also I guess if you're trying to make the Olympic team, that's a huge focus too for this off season, is doing whatever you need to do to secure yourself a roster spot for that.
This question's for any of you. What are the reactions you've gotten from fans? I've seen that you guys got record attendance at your games this year. Like, heard anything? What have they said to you?
Well, our fans were amazing all season. Like you mentioned, record setters. They showed up to every game for us, cheering us on and supporting us, and we felt it all throughout the season, no matter where we played. Whether we were home or away, we always had Scepter fans in the stands. I think throughout playoffs, we felt their energy. I think stepping onto the ice for our first home playoff game and hearing them cheer so loud, it was an incredible atmosphere for us to play in, and we're so lucky that we get to have them support us every game. So it's been a lot of fun this year to have our home rink at Coca-Cola with more seating than last year, and to have them show up every game cheering us on, and I found throughout the season they just sort of got louder and louder. In playoffs, it was the best atmosphere we had all season, so we owe our fans a lot, and can't thank them enough for showing up for us.